Oh my god.
It's okay.
That was close.
It's gonna be okay. All right, looks like we're up.
We're up? Hi, everybody. Okay, so for those of you who are with us still, that was insane.
What happened?
Apologies for that. All right, so what I was saying when we first went live, and please jump in the comments and let us know if, like, we're streaming okay, if our sound is okay. How do we look? Are we okay?
I'm pulling.
Hang on.
All right,
It's not up yet, I don't think.
all right. Take your time, it's okay.
It's not. It's nothing about this is okay. All right.
Okay.
Are we up?
Oh,
I believe so. Yeah.
Are we up?
I think we're live now. Yes, I believe so.
It sounds like we're up, finally. That was very strange.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. See, because some people are smart and they leave their entire streaming setup where it is, indoors, where it belongs. I thought it'd be a good idea to take it outside, where we're surrounded by cicadas and noise and the elements, because why not?
And cars.
And cars.
Occasionally semis.
It could be fun.
I mean, the bear might visit us later.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
True.
So,
That wasn't weird at all.
can you, are we good?
We're
Are
good.
We're
We're
good?
good,
I just can't see it, so I wanted to find the chat.
We are good.
Anyway, we were going to get together tonight and talk a little bit about Daggerheart. And what is it about Daggerheart over the last year of our playing through betas and the release that have kind of made the game what we love and made us really change our minds about most of us, about our primary TTRPG.
Whoa, why you gotta call me out?
Because I don't know, I just want to make sure I'm being fair to everybody. So, like when we have these moments at the table that we've been having, and we've been having some really, really phenomenal moments at the table. You know, some people say, well, it's because the cinematic feel and the story forward spirit is baked into the rules. I don't know if it's just that. I think there's something else that's going on. And I'm curious what you guys think of this. Like, do you have thoughts?
I mean, definitely, I don't know about the cinematic experience of it, but the story, like, driven experience of it is really special. I feel like my experience with D&D is it's like you come up with a character and you go along with somewhat of a story and you crunch a bunch of numbers and it's like, okay, you killed the bad guy. But every time I've played Daggerheart, it's just been like, this beautiful narrative. Like, even just in making my own characters where they feel like as close to a real person as they can get for me. And I don't know if I can exactly pinpoint why that's the difference for Daggerheart versus D&D. But
I come to terms with the fact that, like, when I am making a D&D character, my character is not going to be online for a long time. Like, it's not going to function the way I want it to function for at least, like, 8 levels. And, you know, those are, like, lackluster levels sometimes when you level up and you barely get anything for leveling up, and it just takes you a long time to really sit and feel like that character. When in Daggerheart, you feel like your character from level 1. It seems like the rules kind of work around you instead of you working around the rules.
yeah, like when you came into Endira's Embers with, what was that guy's name? The doctor you were playing?
Oh man, it's been a while. I'm blanking on his name.
But we were
Ashter Crumb.
Ashter Crumb, and we were basically rolling. We had rolled like level 1 characters, and he came up with this whole mechanic of fleece.
Yeah.
And how it would like biochemically empower him, and he could do some crazy shit from level 1. And
Yeah.
it was just like, it was some of the most creative stuff I've ever seen in a character.
Well, I would say that there is this kind of permission that we're granted through this system, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, if we're going to be allowed to kind of have this story forward feel, then we're able to work with our GM on so many things. There's so many abilities and spells that say, work with your GM on how this will go. Your GM asks you, what kind of ability score do you want to use? Like, what kind of trait do you want to use to make this roll? And so, inherently baked into so many of the base level things, you have this permission slip that's given to you, which I think is a big part of it. So that's part of it for me, but I still think there's a willingness on the part of, of who we are to embrace that. Because we said earlier, we have a friend that plays this game, or that plays another TTRPG. And if they went to Daggerheart, we wondered if they would do okay with it.
Yeah. What other TTRPG?
Dungeons and Dragons.
There you
Name
go.
drop. It's like
There
Voldemort.
you go.
You can't
Wow,
say it,
wow.
you know?
You can't. It's the TTRPG.
That shall not be named.
That shall not be named.
Oh my god.
Sit in shame.
I think that's okay. Like, I don't know. We could say it.
I've
Yeah.
brought it up a couple of times before. There are certain things that I do miss about the TTRPG that should not be named. And I was just having a discussion with Rich, when we were before the stream. And there are certain things that I do miss. I mean, it's perfectly put. Daggerheart is more of a free-form, story-driven structure. What you were just saying, Todd, you have more free will, working with your GM, with your abilities and stuff. And a lot of stuff is really cool. But there are things that I played, D&D for years now that we've been playing.
Yeah.
There are certain things that I miss. Some of the crunchiness, I've said this to you before. Some of the but D&D is more of a game, for sure.
Yeah.
It's, a lot more numbers, a lot more, I don't know. What were you going to say?
Game. I love this
Yes.
idea that we're talking about what a game is, because I think that's a big part of it. What were you going to say?
Well, I mean, every time I play Daggerheart, I do feel like I'm missing the fact that I don't get to roll as many dice as I'd like.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in love with every other part of the game, but I'm like, man, I just really want to roll some dice. Like, playing D&D, it's not uncommon that you're gonna roll like 6, 7 dice at a time, and that feels awesome. So like the crunchy aspect of it, yes. And to what you're saying about it, like D&D is like a game. Okay, I see what you're saying, as in like a game in the traditional sense, because it has those crunchy aspects.
Yeah, there's still plenty of role play and, whatnot. Don't get me wrong, storytelling, role play, but I think Daggerheart is definitely more focused on that side.
Right.
As opposed to so much of the numbers, I think.
I think that when you're playing Daggerheart, you bring a lot of yourself to it. Like,
Hey, what's up, guys? I found this
what
beer
the
left over.
hell, dude?
This guy's watching Sasquatch videos.
watching a video.
All right.
No,
He needs double stim.
I'm trying to get the chat up so I can see what you're all saying.
Play it on the set.
I have it right here if you need it. But
I'm good.
wait, I feel like Daggerheart, you bring yourself to it. Like, you kind of impose the limits on the game in a sense. But when you're playing D&D, it almost feels like it's like the universe. Like, there's like the laws of like the universe
Yes.
happening that like you don't have control of. You're kind of
So-
just being blown
And
in the wind.
It's kind of like my experience with making D&D characters. This is like you're dreaming up this character like it's your childhood dreams, and then you play your character, and it's like finding out that you have to get a job and pay taxes, and that you only have your weekends free. It's kind of like I'm so limited by what I can do. Like, I feel like I've made these characters that I've been so excited to play, and then I just lose them. I lose who they are.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. And actually, William Field in the
I was
chat
just gonna say that.
is saying, I think this is the second or third time I've heard someone on YouTube say that they miss rolling dice as often.
Yeah.
Listen, I think, and this, coming from the GM standpoint in this, especially from someone who's trying to harvest fear, right? I want to harvest those fear dice. So in a lot of respects, it's up to the GM to decide how much you're rolling. But we have a very role-play forward table.
Yes, we do.
You guys will go for a half an hour without even
That's
requiring
true.
a roll.
Make your job
yeah.
really easy.
That's pretty true.
Well, it also can make it a little frustrating for, my fear pool,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, there's also other aspects that you aren't rolling for. And I don't want, I'm not trying to sound negative or anything here, but like you're not rolling for death moves, really. I mean, I guess you can if you risk it all. but you're not rolling for death saves. You're not rolling for initiative. You're not. So there are things that you don't have.
But a roll is
But-
made. A roll is made when the outcome has consequences.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I think a GM, depending on where they want to tune the dial for consequences, will have different interpretations for how many times we're rolling dice.
True.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
I
always
agree
seen it
with
as not specifically about consequences, but about uncertainty. When a move itself is uncertain.
Well, I think
True.
that's part of it.
Yeah.
Right? It's uncertain. Well, let me think about this for a minute. I think certain moves can prompt uncertainty. But I would then maybe flip that to you and say, well, okay, so what does this wind up looking like? It depends on the move, right? You're trying to jump the chasm, and it's an 8-foot jump or a 22-foot jump. It's like there's going to be some things that, there's a lot of uncertainty in the 22-foot jump.
Right.
There's some uncertainty in the 8-foot jump.
Yeah.
So in the 8-foot jump, I might say to you, you've got this. You've got an agility score that's high enough. You can jump 8 feet. How does it turn out? Rather than saying, let's make a roll here to see if you slip. Because I think in Dungeons and Dragons, that DM would make you roll that die every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost
no,
every
for sure.
time.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's very story, and like you just said, how does it turn out?
Yeah.
It's more of a, narrative-based game, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Well, Bun Bun Riri says that rolls have overall more value over just rolling to determine whether or not an action succeeds.
Right.
And this is the thing, right? Is we have to remember that uncertainty and consequences are sort of tied together with the tone, the tone of the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this
Is
is
in Daggerheart you can almost roll for either hope or fear rather than succeeding. Like you're going to succeed, but like if your hope or fear die is higher, that depends on how the outcome comes out.
that's a great point. Yeah. So
No.
you could, I guess, as GM, you could decide, well, you've got this, but let's see how the act tunes the dial,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
No, it's perfect. I like what you just said there.
And I will say something nice about Dungeons and Dragons. The only thing that's nice about initiative is that it feels almost like it was meant to happen, because there's no free form of like who's going to go next, what are they going to do, when is it going to turn over to the GM. It just happens all in order because it's initiative and it's planned out.
Yeah.
And if bad things happen, it's almost like they were meant to happen instead of a mistake.
That's true.
So, I mean, that's something that's nice about initiative.
But
Takes
I have-
the onus off of you.
Okay, when we first started like beta testing Daggerheart and whatnot, I was very nervous about the initiative system. But I think now that we've played it, we've definitely gotten the hang of it.
Yeah.
Especially with 6 people at the table, we are still doing well with that. I like now it could get really scary depending on how you roll, and we've been in those scenarios before. But the way that it transfers back and forth between the GM and the players, and I like it. It's different.
well,
it's refreshing.
Yeah.
And it,
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, it keeps you on your toes all the
It
time.
does.
Because
It
I
does,
mean,
yeah.
like when initiative is involved, you're either listening for your name if you're attacked by the DM, or you're waiting for your turn.
Yeah.
And so you kind of lose the plot when you take your turn, and then you're like, okay, 3 people are gonna go, and then the DM's gonna go, maybe I should listen and be prepared to cast some sort of like counterspell or whatever the fuck. But like. Oh, especially how like OG like beta Daggerheart was, where it was you had like a pool of tokens.
Yeah, the
that you could
action
spend,
tokens
where it was
and
sort
stuff.
of like initiative, where you were
Yeah.
kind of limited.
That was weird.
But it was weird, but it was kind of a nice transition from like for me, where I was worried about like having the guardrails suddenly taken off from initiative.
There are ways to add that in to
Yeah.
the system now,
Yeah.
like an action
But-
economy.
It does kind of make the players and the GM feel like they're on an even playing field a little bit.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, Rabbit.com has been in here saying a couple of really interesting things, and
Yes.
he is saying that you could always add an initiative if you feel you need its ordered nature, right? So you could bring
Yeah,
that in,
yeah.
and then there's also this notion of the GM could throw in more reaction rolls, But
saw
you know,
that
as we
one.
know, reaction rolls roll without hope or fear. And it kind of is.
But it could just give that sense of, more rolling, more dice, more
That's true.
interaction.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that comment was on that.
Yeah.
Where it's like some of the things are lacking a little bit.
Right.
But
Right. I will say that I do not miss, nor will I miss the initiative roll ever again, because I feel like, and we've discussed this already, we feel like there is so much more presence on the part of the players at the table, knowing that they have to act at any time. You don't have to check out anymore. It's fantastic that way.
And because of that, like our 3-player session for the marathon, our combat just felt like, boom, you go, boom, I go, boom, we go.
And then you roll
And
with
it's
fear, and then you're like, fuck,
like,
I had
fuck.
something planned.
But like
and-
the thing about Daggerheart combat, it's all momentum based.
It is.
Like you can steamroll an entire combat, just like in life, and that feels kind of good.
Okay.
Or you could get fucking stomped.
Well,
in the beginning.
I saw something interesting. This is good. We've got some more comments coming in that are really, like Warrior says, I will say, though, the tug and pull between DM and players turns in Daggerheart is more fun.
Yeah.
And I agree. And I saw something really, really interesting. I forget where I saw it, but it really broke this rule down in an interesting way. Okay, so the question here is, what turns the action back to the GM? There's only 2 things in combat that turn the action back to the GM, right? And they are
Failing and rolling with fear.
Technically
failing
3, though,
and
right?
rolling with fear, or
Can't you just take an action by spending fear?
well, yes, I could, but let's leave that one off the table
Okay.
just for now.
So it's ultimately 2.
It's
yeah.
2, but I could grab it. Okay, so now get this. You're in combat. Let's say it's a tavern. A tavern's getting shot up with a bunch of people coming in with crossbows. You throw over the table, and 2 of you in the party are hiding behind the table, right, as the action is going down. And one of you say, you know what, I want to take a move here. I want to do something. And with that grabbing of the spotlight, you turn to Rich and you're like, can you see what's going on out there? Can we, like, who's closest? Can we analyze this? You're not doing anything to roll, right? So there is no failure and there is no fear. And in a lot of ways, this allows the notion of role play to also share the spotlight with the combat scenario, and you don't risk turning it back to the GM. So it is an opportunity to sort of infuse combat with what would be real action. I mean, that's a possible scenario. You're behind the table. Because in Dungeons & Dragons, if that were your turn, the rule is basically this: kill the enemies before they kill you. And we only have a certain number of turns to do this. So you don't want to waste your turn.
You feel pressure.
You feel pressure to act. You've got to chop some hit points off of the adversary every turn. Otherwise, you don't have to do that here.
You don't have to use your abilities. You can straight up use your turn or just that moment to say something in character.
Right.
You don't
That's
feel like you're
interesting.
wasting
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never really thought of that.
Right.
Because in D&D, like you just said, your goal is to kill that target. And your turn is set up with an action, bonus action, and movement. And if I go, hey, can I see this person or can I scope this person out? You might be like, all right, well, that was your action.
Well,
And then you're like, shit, there's my turn.
or how many times have we said in Dungeons & Dragons, would it be my bonus action to just yell, hey, everybody get down? Right?
Yeah.
Because, in a lot of ways, action, bonus action, and movement sounds generous. It's like you get to do 3 things on your turn. But it's
in
really,
6 seconds.
it's a box. You can't
It
get
is.
out of that box.
yeah.
I like what you're saying. I never thought about it like that. That's interesting.
Well, see, like those first few minutes right before combat, not even minutes, it's like Todd says somebody's coming, and then people are like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, it's like free-form combat, and then it's like, okay, roll initiative, and then the gears start turning.
Yeah.
That's just Daggerheart combat before it was cool.
It's true.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like it's
Yeah.
just what we wanted to do all along.
The thought of like when we used to play D&D and I would just want to say something during combat and Todd's like, well, does it fit in 6 seconds? And I'm like, well,
Well,
I hate that.
Nope. Sorry.
And, you know, rabbit.com, I love when rabbit.com spells technically with a lot of letters. Like,
No,
technically.
that's Jester from
Oh, yeah.
Critical
Yes,
Role.
that's right, that's right.
Technically.
Technically. And, you know, he says Daggerheart turns aren't always turns.
Yeah,
like
I
when the
just read
person
that.
just says a thing. That's not even a turn for Daggerheart.
Mm-hmm.
They're more like moments than the traditional RPG turn system. Which, perfect, right?
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden, this is one of the things I think that contributes to the speed and rhythm that combat can move at in this game. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's beautiful about it.
Yeah, I mean, we were also talking about how like not combat could also be as exciting as combat, because what is combat and why do people like it? It's danger. But what if danger took a different form, right? What if, maybe you're saying, what if you were on trial and the danger was you had to like role play your way out of this? But you treat it as combat as such, and it feels just as like high stakes.
Well, there's a thought in here for me, and I'm getting it.
You're getting it.
But the idea of negotiating your way out of something, right, as danger or as combat, for lack of a better word, timing is going to be everything, right? Because if you're talking to someone and someone says, tell me your name, and you want to lie, and you're like, Johnny, you know, the hesitation, right, all of a sudden becomes a disadvantage. The hesitation becomes something that in role play becomes something that's easily unbelievable.
Right.
So in a lot of ways, role play as combat, in this case through a negotiation, is a really, really interesting form of that genre.
And then throw that in with a nice timer. You
Yeah.
have a really high stakes situation.
Yeah, yeah.
Why are you giving him ideas?
Sorry, dude. I know you're afraid of timers, man.
I love
I know,
ideas.
he loves his timers.
I know he loves his timers.
I love my countdowns.
The
Bun
fucking
Bun Riri.
suspense that brings to the table.
I think those are brilliant.
Dude, when you just
Brilliant.
like reach up onto the table and you just go
You
like,
just flip that die. It's just like,
fuck, what is it?
The beautiful thing about the countdown timer is that you can either choose to show it, and
Or
even
not.
if you show it, you can choose to define it or not,
yeah.
and you can choose to hide it. Okay, so you got 4 possibilities
Yeah.
here, or maybe more according to math. You'll correct me, I know. But you can either show the timer and tell what it is, show the timer and not tell what it is. This is 8 possibilities. Hide the timer and tell what it is. Hide the timer and not tell what it is.
Babe, that was 4.
That's 4. You doubled the whole thing.
I did. Show the timer and
Know
tell
it
what
and
it is.
on. Don't know it and
It's a
on.
Punnett square, babe.
Don't know it. Or don't see it. It's 4.
Who's to say?
It's 4. Yeah. It's okay.
Look,
Who's to say?
unless I'm GMing, I'm not really good in real life.
do you
Okay,
mean?
I'm not.
I gotta say
Narratively,
though,
that's different things.
we don't normally know what the timer is. Unless it's something like our last game with the tides or whatever. But you don't normally know what the big bad timer is. And not
God.
knowing, it is just like stress.
Yeah.
like an
stress.
impending sense of
Yep.
doom.
When you're like, oh, this timer's down to 3.
Like, oh,
Yeah, that's pressure.
I mean, that
Stakes-
timer could
stakes
just
to the
mean
story.
automatically win, right?
Yes, Donald, real life is hard. I mean, look, if I'm not in game, I think I'm starting to struggle when I'm not in game. This is a problem, right? This is an issue.
No, you're good.
Let's see. During a session, Bun Bun Riri says, during a session, we went from having a tense conversation to a sudden combat due to adversary decision reaction that was swiftly dissolved with a bit of violence into another conversation. Yeah, that's it.
And it's effortlessly
and
flown
it's beautiful.
Well,
with no initiative roll needed.
roll for initiative is immediately the flag that goes up to say, we're fighting.
Kill
We're in
people.
combat.
Kill.
Yeah.
And it's
We've
like-
talked about that multiple times.
Well, like, how do you feel like as running adversaries, if one of your players wanted to talk things out with an adversary, mid-fight, I guess, in Daggerheart, how would you handle that? Would there be a possibility of the adversaries not killing the player?
Well, I think that depends on the adversary, number one. But of course,
Yeah.
if it's going to fit the narrative, then yeah, 100%.
I feel like sometimes it's a little hard to piece apart, like, what narrative advantages Daggerheart gives us and what narrative advantages D&D doesn't. Because I feel like you've always been playing D&D how Daggerheart was meant to be played.
Wait,
You know?
you feel like I've been playing D&D
Yeah,
like
how
Daggerheart
you-
was meant to be played?
Or how Daggerheart is played. As in, like, you are much more flexible with how things roll. You are going
Well-
to let things follow the narrative the way they make sense.
Absolutely. And this, okay, so like in terms of my evolution as a GM, GM, and starting out with, like first and second edition Dungeons and Dragons, which was frankly kind of a nightmare to play compared to what we do now. I think when I saw 5th edition, I was like, because I dealt with 3.5, I dealt with 4 a little bit, and 4 was very crunchy. But when I saw 5th edition, I was like, okay, we're getting to something a little bit more sane in order to get out that story. Because my thing is about telling stories. It's about narratives.
Yeah.
And it was very hard to turn. This was not about narratives when we were playing 2nd edition, right? It was much more about, to hit armor class 0. Okay, so we're gonna count back. It was a lot of math. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it as a kid. But when 5th edition came out, I tweaked that to be hopefully more flexible and narratively driven. That's kind of what I wanted to do. So
I think that, like, when it comes to, like, the tides of the TTRPG community with Critical Role and everything, I think the new people that are joining and with it exploding, people want to play a more cinematic game like the ones they're watching, right? And D&D was never tailored to do that. So the fact that I think they didn't make a big enough jump towards that style of game with the new 2024 edition, it was underwhelming compared to a game like Daggerheart that was built from the ground up to be the exact thing that people want right now. It's like D&D is not, it's not the best crunchy game and it's not the best storytelling game. So, like, it's, what is it doing the best right now?
But what you said there, watching Critical Role, I've watched pretty much everything they've produced. What you just said, they took the aspect of 5th edition and definitely focused. They still have all the numbers, all the checks, all the initiatives and all that, jazz. But their table is so roleplay heavy. And that is the, 90% focus, I would say, of their stories. They're telling a story.
Yeah.
So I think that's, why they made this game the way they did and made it more freeform and more, just flowing into story beats, I would say. But I wanted to ask Todd.
I'm listening.
How you feel as a GM with Daggerheart. Like, what is your impression? Let's just compare it to Dungeons and Dragons. I know, you made a comment the one day we were playing, how easy it was to make an encounter with the way that they have their system set up. So it's like, just what do you think about that? I'd like to know your side. We always talk about the players.
Well, as a GM, I think the thing I've always struggled with is balanced encounters. And, you kind of go through, I guess, a series of experiences that get you better at doing that. And your first inclination in any encounter building, when you want to make it a little bit more dangerous, is you either add more hit points or you add more adversaries to it. So right out of the gate, in answering your question, I think about this notion of encounter building and the various types of adversary and how those things stack up mathematically, where you've got solos, you've got ranged, you've got bruisers, you've got minions, you've got, so those all have different values.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if have you read this yet about the encounter
Not
building?
much. I think I saw like a little clip online. It might have been one of the Daggerheart ones or something like that about encounter building and how like, you know, there's a point system and there's
If I'm not
tiers.
mistaken, it's 3 points for every player at the table plus 2. So we typically have somewhere around 17 points. And then you go into the tier that everybody is sort of working with and you look at, well, do I have a solo level character? And that's a character that's tier 2 that's going to have a much more dangerous presence to them. They've got
so almost
more
like a boss kind of.
Yeah, like a boss. They got more features. They're going to have a slightly higher damage threshold. They're going to have, you know, everything's a little harder.
Yeah.
A minion is going to be much lower. They're probably going to appear in groups. They're killed on the first point of damage, and sometimes they're killed in groups based on how much over that damage you do. And you saw that with the rat folk in the sewers in Clockwork Silence.
Yeah.
That right there, just as a tool for the GM, just made me giggle. I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. I couldn't get over how good that was.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. D&D Beyond has an encounter builder in it, and it's mathematically weighted, and it does have every monster in the monster manual and other books in there. And it's pretty good. You've got these bars that fill in with the severity of the encounter. But at the end of the day, I always found the encounters to be kind of still not totally accurate.
Well, I was going to say, like, so far what I have felt in the encounters that we've had in Daggerheart, they have felt intense. They felt right.
They do feel
think,
right.
yeah.
Like it's the right amount of challenge.
That-
We can
yeah.
overcome it if we work hard.
I mean, they're okay. The rolls can definitely go negative. There have been times where it's just like fear after fear after fear, and it's like we are getting our ass kicked.
Yes.
To us.
Yes.
But in the end, it still always feels like that was a challenge. I don't know. I think it's just the Daggerheart system.
Well, you know, Bun Riri says the roll is dynamic, in which the results tell players the degree of success or failure and the consequences that follow. I like that.
I like
so
that.
if you fail, but you fail by 1 point, well, now all of a sudden, you've got a different take on the consequences and how that turned out versus if you failed miserably.
Yeah.
And it's just like a disastrous.
I like that.
My
I like
nerdy
that.
take is that is my favorite thing about Daggerheart. The mathematics of the rolls. So if you're not familiar, if you don't mind if I
Jump in,
run
man.
with this
enter
for
it
a
off,
minute.
dude.
So if you don't know the math of the rolls, since you're rolling 2d12s, the number that you are going to roll most frequently is a 13. The numbers that you're going to roll least frequently are going to be a 2 or a 24. So that means you have something sort of like a bell curve, but it's really like a triangle. So when you roll, you're expected to do somewhere closer to the middle than you are to the outsides. So if you're rolling to do some sort of thing, like making some sort of ability check, if you roll something really high, that is like a miraculous roll, and you can play on that. If you roll something like a 3, which is the worst you can roll because a 2 is a critical success, because that's 2 ones. If you roll something like a 3, that is the most catastrophic failure you can ever get. So you can really play into what the dice give you, because there are just rolls that are more like
Common.
more common, or just like, you know, more rare. You know.
Yeah, I think that ever since you illustrated that curve to me, I've really started thinking about difficulty class in how I grade things. Because I'm like, all right, well, if this is going to be relatively easy, I'm not going to make the difficulty class like, I'm going to make the difficulty class in that middle range somewhere, because it's obvious we're going to hit that.
Right.
And I actually like to kind of celebrate sometimes when someone hits the difficulty class on the number, right? Because that's also a difficult thing to do. If a difficulty class is a 15 and you roll a 15, to me, you met it with a kind of, it's almost like you hit the bullseye.
Finesse.
Yeah.
There's
almost.
a finesse to it. Yeah, you
kind
hit the
of.
bullseye. So to me, that's kind of like an interesting way to say, oh, this could be good also. Especially given the curve of the numbers, right?
Well, I like what you just said there. The bullseye, or you could have like the Gallagher against the watermelon kind of thing. Like, you know, if you're way above it, it's like those times in D&D. It's like, yeah, this hits.
Right.
Because it's like, yeah, I rolled a 25, and it's just like,
Like, duh.
you know.
Yeah, it's like, does a 38 hit
Yeah.
you? No, it doesn't.
But like, there's
I also-
more. Sorry, you can go.
I was just gonna say that like I also have found that like in all of our Daggerheart combats, it rarely feels like someone's getting like ganged up on or something. Like it all kind of flows fairly in a nice way, and I don't really know why that is. I think it's because like the initiative doesn't get caught up on like, all right, 5 enemies are gonna go now in order. It's more so just like, all right, an enemy's gonna go.
Right.
You know.
So there's a couple good comments in here. So Warriors is saying we haven't even talked about the death moves yet, which are electric to watch. And then Warriors also says you can also add subtract points if you want certain combats to be harder, easier, and the book has that in there. Yes, I did see that. So you can kind of beef that 17 up to 18. Not what happens at 18, what happens at 21.
Yeah.
Right? But then also, George Straighton says, if you haven't checked it out yet, there's a great encounter builder for Daggerheart called Fresh Cut Grass. Perfect. It's free. You can just Google it and you'll find the site. I found it very helpful. So I didn't know
It'd be
about
interesting to check out.
that. I got to check that out. That's very cool.
I know Rich loves death moves.
I love death moves so
Rich
much.
loves death moves.
But one last thing, Rabbit.com says, I find it odd that they are fixed numbers, though. Like a solo is 5 points. Doesn't matter how many special abilities they have or hit point stress. Yeah. But I'm also thinking that, you know, to some degree, there's a little flexibility in there. And so if that solo is 5, but I want to push them to 4 because I want to have that extra point I need. It's the same thing as adding a point at the beginning, right? But maybe some solos should be 6 or 7 if they really like can crush it,
Yeah.
right? So, but let's talk a little bit about death moves because I think this is another area where, like,
So much better than
I'm just
D&D.
So much
really,
fun.
really quick before death moves.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just curious because I haven't spent time in the adversary sections. Are there adversaries that have like legendary resistances and legendary actions or anything like that?
well, they have features
Okay.
built around them that emulate those things.
Okay.
Right? So they're going to have larger scale things. So certain solos might have the ability to mark a stress to call more adversaries
Okay.
in.
All
So
right.
there
So
are.
yeah, there's aspects just like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
I just want to object to something real quick, actually. I like your comment. This is from Warriors 4478.
Double
They
12.
said that's why I think double 12 should be ultimate success. Agreed. And double 1 should be ultimate failure because the odds of getting that roll is 1 in 144. Your math is right. Though I think there's something more interesting that you can do with double 1s. Okay? Because if you look at the fact that there are 12 ways to get a critical success, because a critical success is just rolling two of the same number on your d12s. Yes, 2 12s is like, holy shit, that's spectacular. You are like a human performing what only a god could do. But double 1s, I think it'd be so funny, and we haven't seen this yet, to describe a scenario in which you fuck up so terribly that you actually succeed. Like,
That's perfect.
I described
Yeah,
this
I
as
like that.
in a podcast once where I was like, imagine like the nerdy, geeky guy who goes up to like the prettiest girl in the club and he's like, hi, I play Dungeons and Dragons, and she's like all over him.
I mean, that's every single kind of like rom-com that's out there right
Right,
now. Like
right.
the total like misfit is with the number 10
I mean,
in
think
school.
Think about it in combat too. Like you can literally have just like dropped your weapon, tripped, fell, it like somebody threw something, and it
could be
just like
so
landed in the
funny.
guy's neck, and he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
I
you're,
just,
we need to roll with that.
yeah.
We need to roll with
It's just
that.
the
Yeah.
dice are just so much better to read, not as just a mechanic of do I pass the threshold, which is so like one-dimensional. It's like it's literally food for thought for
Right.
how you're going to interpret this role and tell the story.
Chat's loving this.
I know. Bum Bum Reader is like, yes, face plant into your success, which is great. So, wait a
Death
minute.
moves.
Yeah,
Death moves.
because if in Dungeons and Dragons we have a critical fail Bible, which we often do, right? If you roll a nat 1, you go to the critical fail Bible and you roll a D100 and whatever the result is, this is what happens. We could, in theory, not necessarily create a Bible where this is the thing that happens and you have to roll in this table, but I think we could sort of create a series of potential examples, like what happens on double ones, what happens
Yeah.
on double twos, and what happens on double 12s.
Yeah.
Like
The
and
critical
tweak it.
success range.
Yeah, and tweak
Yeah.
it. Huh.
Aye.
You want to talk about death moves?
I know this guy
I love
does.
death moves.
I mean, they're awesome. Fucking,
know-
it's just like, oh, I mean, if you think about how D&D handles going down, it's so consequentless. Like, you just go under, you roll 3 rolls, and you either pop up with no consequences or you're dead.
Yep.
And I mean, you get no agency over how your character would go out. It's just anticlimactic. And in Daggerheart, I'm so excited for death moves because it's just another way to express your character. You know?
I've killed 2 or 3 of my characters. I think every time I've gone out with a fucking bang. My first
Yeah.
one, I traumatized you.
You had one of the most epic deaths in any of our Daggerheart games.
So awesome. So awesome. And like, I love the character I played most recently, not Babushka, but the one during the marathon, Doomba.
Yeah.
And honestly, I love him, but I don't think of him so fondly because he didn't die. My other characters.
Yeah, no, dying is like putting
I
an
love you.
exclamation point on
Yeah.
your story in Daggerheart.
It is.
You know?
It is.
Instead of just petering out.
Yeah, but even like,
It's a rite of passage. It's a mark of honor,
Yeah.
right? You died for your campaign. We staple the character sheet to the ceiling. We take the mini, we put it in the glass cabinet.
And let's talk about it because this shit blew my mind in A Clockwork Silence. But my death, there is
Wait,
no better.
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet. But my death was probably my favorite death of any character I've ever had in any TTRPG. And it came off of Garrett's character expressing his death to the most of his ability, using Daggerheart's rules to really, I don't know, put an exclamation point at the end of your story,
so
and that
beautiful.
also completely put an exclamation point at the end of my story.
I mean, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because if this was D&D, we wouldn't have had that option.
No,
right.
No.
you would
I
have
would've
been
been
dead. You'd
dead.
been blown halfway across
You would
the
have
city.
been just,
I would've been fine.
either you would have just been where you were at. You would have potentially just been unconscious and waiting to be healed in D&D.
Yeah, or you
Yeah.
would have had to wait, like, to make 3 death moves before you're like, okay, I was gonna fucking die anyway.
Yeah.
Well, the next morning after the final session of that, Saturn, who is beautifully running this stream and switching all these cameras, so shout out to Saturn for that. But Saturn said to me the next morning, Rook didn't have to die.
Yes, he did.
And I said, I know. I said, but didn't it make it fantastic the way it ended?
Yeah.
And he said, I can't stop thinking about that death and how
Same.
and how that unfolded. And I think it was because of player choice, number 1. And number 2, that notion of it puts that exclamation point on that player's life.
Yeah. Can you imagine how boring it would have been if I just woke up the next day?
Or how
after
boring it
everything
would have
blew
been
up?
if you had completed your last success on a death save
Yeah.
and just popped up and you're like, here I am with a hit point.
Well, he would have just been stabilized.
Or stabilized,
most
but
likely.
if he-
That's why I said he would have just been laying there unconscious,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, but if somebody had just, cast some kind of
Well,
healing word.
Yeah, I
you know.
mean,
that would've been fine.
Rabbit makes that comment. How D&D healing is just like 1d4, and you're just miraculously like.
Yeah, I saw that in there. Actually, that's actually why I said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rabbit's fueling my conversation here.
I like the fact that you don't come up with a point of exhaustion every time you go down to 0 hit points in Daggerheart in D&D makes no sense to me. There needs to be some sort of drawback, something you can play off of going down in D&D, or else it's just like you're like on a pogo stick. I might as well play a character that
Okay. We talked about this before the stream when we were talking about the differences between Daggerheart and D&D, and I said that D&D is. I mean, don't get me wrong. Daggerheart has plenty of fantasy to it, and the magic system and all that stuff. But D&D is just super fantasy. You've got 170 hit points. You could take 4 damn attacks by a red dragon.
Yeah.
Where Daggerheart, it's like, okay, I've got 6 hit points.
Right.
Half the hits are, unless I'm using armor, which armor's very limited to begin with for the most part. I get hit by something big, I'm down half of my health.
Yeah.
And you're just like, it is just a completely different feel. We've talked about this before. And then pretty much how how Rabbit just said, you know, you just heal up magically, no consequences, no nothing. You wake up the next day, you're perfectly fine. I mean, you just got wrecked. And so it's just like this super high fantasy kind of thing.
Yeah.
But Daggerheart normalizes it a little more. Like if you get whacked pretty hard, you're feeling it. You're halfway dead.
Well,
Like,
I mean, and I know this is a game and it's fantasy, but you know, like somebody on the internet once decided, they said, how many hit points does the average person have in real life? Okay, let's say I take this Louisville Slugger bat, which is going to be a blunt weapon. We'll call it a club.
Yeah.
And a typical standard club in Dungeons and Dragons does 1d4 damage. You know, maybe plus your strength modifier, but let's just go with 1d4 damage. If I hit you in the head with that club one time,
I'm good, dude. I'm
you
walking
are
away.
unconscious.
Dude, I'm
walking
fine, dude.
away.
You want to test this?
Dude, I'm good.
let's do it.
The point here is that if I hit you, like, let's say 3 times, you're dead.
Yeah,
Like,
your
I'm going to
skull's
bludgeon
cracking.
you to death. So let's say I rolled 4s on every one
Yeah,
of
what
those.
happened to Glenn in Walking Dead?
Yeah, think about Glenn.
Right. So what do you have?
And you know what
Spoilers.
pisses me off?
Here we go.
And I'm pissed off about
Here
this.
we go.
Like, we talked about this on iCast Guidance a few months ago. I came up with a better fix for D&D's damage rules. The fact that, like, if you have to do double the damage under 0 to flat out kill them is ridiculous. I came up with the idea that, okay, let's split it up into thirds. If you do a third of their damage under 0, they take 1 loss on their
Death save.
on their death save. Thank you. And vice versa. 2/3 is 2 losses. Yada yada. Such an easy fix that accounts for how hard you're hitting someone and how hard it will be for them to recover from that. There are so many things they could have done. It just feels lazy.
I mean,
I think he's upset about this.
he,
I'm also coming off of steroids.
someone,
Maybe you should qualify that somehow, because
I'm,
you just
he's
announced
juicing,
that.
bro. He's juicing.
I know. I had poison ivy in
You
my
see
mouth.
this?
I had a poison ivy in my mouth a week ago, and they put me on steroids for a week, and I'm coming off of it. So
Yeah? How'd
Yeah.
you get the poison ivy in your mouth? I'm just
You
curious about
shouldn't
that.
eat poison ivy, Rich.
He met a Poison Ivy cosplayer.
Anyway,
quit.
okay, all right. But I get what you're saying there.
Thank you.
A different, like, scale. They do have the aspect of, when you're down and if you get hit with a melee, you're taking 2 hits. Death like saves.
that's good, and that's fine.
Because you got to think about it. Okay, you got magic armor, you got armor on, but that adversary is going to be able to find that spot to really get to you if you're unconscious on the ground.
I want to touch on what Rabbit.com just said. Rabbit.com says, well, mostly it's 50 years old, so, and I'm going to put this out there. What the heck is the name of the book now that I'm reading? It is called, I want to get the name right. It'll come to me and I'll come back to it. But it is really about it's called Playing It Life. And Playing It Life is about the history of Dungeons & Dragons and how the Avalon Hill wargaming movement of the 1960s and the but like a newsletter that they used to have associated with that called The General was sort of the beginnings of organizing these games into something larger. And what would happen in The General is different players would sort of talk about their play styles, how they ran combat on their games. So these are basically miniature games, right? Wargaming with miniatures. And a lot of people had different rules for how, if my army attacks your army, one guy in your army represents 20 guys. So if that guy goes down, that's 20 people down. The rules were very, very simplistic, and they were trying to make them more realistic and more playable. Okay, so this is way back in the history of, right? But as it goes forward, and certain contributors to The General, like unknowns by the name of Gary Gygax, who also played Avalon Hill War Games, they sort of all of a sudden, first of all, Gary Gygax was one of the few people that brought Tolkien's world into the Avalon Hill gaming system. They said, we want to create a rule set around the notions of fantasy. So instead of just having, you know, gunmen, or if you go back to like an earlier war, bowmen, we want to have wizards. We want to have a fireball in the spell in this, right? And so all of a sudden now the rules are sort of turning to things that are a little bit more nuanced and detailed. Okay, so let's march that forward the 50 years that Rabbit.com pointed out. You can trace the roots directly, and it does have a history to it. And so on some level, I both admire, appreciate, and understand the way that came to be, even if now we are finding that we have seen the light. we have found the calling.
Yeah.
And we understand that maybe 6 hit points to mark up is far superior than 150 hit points to mark down. And that death as a choice, as a narrative choice, to put the exclamation point on that character's life and make you walk away feeling like, I love this character, really is a superior way of playing.
Yeah, I mean, I forget who said it. Bun Bun said it. Death moves are solely in the player's hands, which I find awesome. And with the options given, players can choose what works for them instead of solely relying on chance, unless that's what you want.
Yeah.
Which I think is just, I think that's what you really love about it.
No,
right?
it is what I really love it.
Yeah.
Because I'm all about, you know, doing what your character would do. And you see, every time I'm hit with a death move, I don't think, what's best for us winning? I don't think anything. I'm just, all right, what would my character do in this moment? But I'm going to say one thing. Because I'm going to be angry about something again.
Here we go.
What the hell is this rule where you can choose to live and nobody can touch you while you're unconscious on the ground? You have a magical force field around you and nobody can kill you while you're on the ground.
Did you want your seal to die?
Did I want my seal to die?
Oh God, are we going to start this debate
to be
again?
real, I would have liked to take it out of my hands. I don't want to make the decision.
So, you know, then in that aspect, I think you like D&D more.
No.
No.
Oh,
No, I don't think so.
Wow.
I don't
Knives
think so.
Out.
Holy shit.
You see, it was interesting with the
You don't
seal.
want
The
agency?
companion, I do want agency, but there's a point where the GM and the world around me needs to be dangerous as well.
Yes.
They need to have agency as well.
This, I was having this problem when coming up with my character Babushka, where I became scared for about a day. I was like, because I love my death moves. I love sending my character out with a bang. And I was thinking about it. I was like, God, if Babushka, like, was facing death, there's no way she would die. There's no way she would want to die. She would come back. She would get back up. And that means I have to choose the, like...
To just lay down and fucking...
Yeah, and take it. I
lay down and take it. Is that how we're going to
I just have to
refer
choose
to it
that.
now?
Because I'm like, yes, I want to play true to my character and choose what Babushka would choose, but I'm like, fuck, man. I want to do the other things that don't align with her.
Yeah.
Well,
All right, so it sounds like Rich wants to tweak the rules.
No, I just think that the GM needs to also be able to be lethal. I think he needs to be able to have agency over his people. Like
That's always something we can do.
It is always something we could do, and I just don't like the fact that like it says that if you choose to survive, you automatically will, no matter what. Obviously, we changed that for my story, you know.
Yes, yeah.
Like,
Well,
that's
and I
good.
think that's
good.
you know, it works.
It worked
And,
really
you
well,
know,
and I think maybe there's a world where like, all right, if you choose that, you fall hidden, and they have to roll to be able to hit you or something. I don't know,
Okay.
but-
All right. Let's throw this out there because we discussed this, I think, on iCast Guidance once, where at our D&D table we took away the death rolls on table. Players didn't know what they were rolling.
I did them.
You did, yeah, and
Yeah.
you were doing them behind the screen, and keeping track of them. And that brought an intensity to the game. I had seen it on TikTok or something, and I brought it up to our game because we had a lot of home rules in our D&D campaign, and that was a game changer. And if you've never played like that, if you're still playing 5e, do it. Make your DM make the rolls, because it just brings urgency to a downed character.
Yeah. It's
now,
scary.
The consequence with Daggerheart is if you go down, we don't care about you at all, because there is no consequence. So I get what you're saying.
Thank you.
There is no...
Are you saying there's no consequence because an unconscious character can't be targeted?
Yes, and that's his argument over here, is he doesn't like that there's no
Stakes.
severity, and that you, as the GM, can't technically go in for the kill.
It's
You
like-
can't be lethal.
Yeah, you get your freedom taken away.
Right. Well, okay. I think Daggerheart has the flexibility to allow us, okay, so if you look at a book like The Monsters Know What They're Doing, I think one move that DMs make that's really like a very sort of amateur move is when a party member goes down in D&D and they fall unconscious, and the adversary that knocked them down moves on to the next person. That's an amateur move.
Amateur.
Because if that adversary really wanted you dead and you hit the ground, look at any thriller where someone's shooting someone. It's like they hit them once and then they walk up and they're like, So
Yeah.
you're going to walk up to that character now. When they're down, it's an automatic crit, right? And a crit is going to take 2 death saves and automatically fail them. You can take someone out like that as a GM.
So,
DM.
so is this our home rule? Are we changing the rules?
Well, I feel like if you went down, you should still be able to be targeted.
I agree.
Well, if we all agree, we can
Do we-
change the
do we
rules.
make it-
Okay,
do we
here we
make
go.
it- Do we make it? Do we add some like special
Chat, help
sort
us
of?
out here. What do we do here?
What if we raise like their armor or their to hit? What if we raise their to hit? So they're a little bit more protected.
Why would you do that if you're laying on the ground? and
No,
totally
because I think
vulnerable?
that's anti 5e. You're easier to hit essentially when you're on the ground. But I think this is a perfect thing to discuss in the next session 0 for our next campaign.
I agree. I like this
Do we
whole-
all feel
Yes.
to add that option in?
And we should include the companion discussion as well.
Yeah.
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 Because right now, avoid death. We don't. It's funny because when we're on this stream, we don't want to pick avoid death because we don't want to look like we're taking the easy way out.
Facts.
So if we added some flavor to that,
And that
was a
is
great point.
that's the same exact thing that if you've watched Age of Umbra, that's the same exact thing that they struggled with. All the characters, a PC goes down and they're like, I don't want to take the easy way out. They're struggling with it so much that they were just taking the time to like really, ponder that.
yeah.
Well, remember when we were playing A Clockwork Silence and I went down? There was like no stress about that. I just got hit in the head and I fell down the steps and nobody.
That's exactly what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
It's almost the same thing that if in 5e, if you know that if your friend is down and they have 2 successes and 0 failures on their death saves, they're not as important. It's more important to take out that adversary than it is to try and heal your party member. It's the same thing. If you've already just what is it? What's it called in Daggerheart?
Chosen that
What are we asking?
You just said
Where
it.
you live.
What it when you
choose
just
to
go
live.
down? What's that called?
Avoid death.
Avoid death.
Yeah.
Like you avoid death, and one of us could have healed you,
yeah.
but we were so more focused on the adversary. It's just like, all right, whatever. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. There's
You're
no.
Well, I think also if there's that like stress where like you don't know, you could heal them and they could be failing their death saves or something.
Yeah.
As your character, you could also choose like, all right, in this moment, would I heal my partner or would I kill that person? And that says something about my character. You know? when there's a
thought that goes
choice
through
like that, it makes you think in character, and that's what I'm for.
I mean, Bunba Riri counters with this idea, yeah, I get that, but since there is always a chance of a permanent scar, which leads to less hope and more constraints in using their abilities, okay, I think that's an attempt to balance it, right? But in that attempt to balance it, because I'm not saying, I agree but disagree. In that attempt to balance it, it feels like it's taking a little of the authenticity of the act away if you're laying there on the ground unconscious.
Yes, and my response to that is, in my opinion, the system's too soft.
Yeah.
At lower levels.
Yeah.
At lower levels. At higher levels, for sure. Because you just have to beat your hope die.
Right.
I mean, level 1, 2, 3, Math Man over there is going to tell us the percentage on a D12 that you're going to roll one of those low numbers.
Wait, there's a way to modify the scar system, though. I think that maybe every time you get hit while you're down is a guaranteed scar.
Ooh.
Oh, shit.
Or we can have that, which makes sense. If you go down immediately and you choose avoid death, we can just have a house rule, have it be you immediately get a scar.
Right.
So you can play with
That
scars.
could be the consequence.
Yeah.
Well, because one of my problems
Which is what Rabbit said.
One of my problems with, if you're down, you choose death, you fall unconscious, or you choose to avoid death, you fall unconscious.
Oh, I like what Rabbit said.
Yeah, but think about this for a minute. Environment stat blocks, right, where the environment actually functions as an adversary in certain occasions. Does that mean that if the environment you're in is dangerous and you're unconscious and there is all of a sudden an avalanche and you can't be damaged by the environment also because you can't be targeted? Now that really strips away from the narrative in a way that I can't quite wrap my head around.
Yeah.
So this is doubly problematic. I love the scar idea.
I think that's a great idea.
The scar idea is beautiful.
That's fun.
All right, we gotta play with this.
Because you choose to live, but you might wake up tomorrow with 3 less hit points.
Donald Williams says dismembered die rolls.
My question is, we've played a lot of short campaigns. I'm excited to see how Daggerheart functions in a longer campaign.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like what Rabbit says.
I see it.
Where, remember, Daggerheart base rules are base. In video game terms, they are the lowest difficulty setting. You can always add more.
This is true.
It is.
This is true.
And we're coming up with these ideas right now. Because there's some things that we don't like, and there's some things that we really do like. And we can tweak them. And I think that's we've always tweaked the rules in our D&D stuff. We are, new to this system. Yeah, we've been playing it since beta. We've been testing it, and but now that the official rules are out, we can tweak them to our needs.
And that's what makes our table unique.
Yeah.
Goddamn right.
Earlier, George Strayton put in a notion about, I do think it was smart that they included the campaign frames idea in the Daggerheart core rulebook. It's an easy way not to only develop a setting, but also to add or modify or eliminate rules. This is an interesting topic, actually, and I'm really quite interested in, and I said this the other night in the Discord session I held for early adopters of the module, because I made the mistake of conflating the two words module and campaign frame. Because when I first saw the campaign frames in the core rulebook, I didn't really look at them in depth.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, oh, these are mini adventures, right? But they're not mini adventures. They are settings to build adventures in. And so I was confusing the two terms until I became clear with them. However, campaign frame to me is insanely exciting as a kind of lighter 2 to 3 page overall situation. So,
well, we said this when we started playing Beast Feast, and we saw the whole mechanic of like how the Beast Feast mechanic works, where you've got to kill stuff, collect stuff, forage stuff, and then you make a meal, and that's how you heal in the end.
Yeah.
And you create a recipe book as you go along. That's a rule set that comes from that campaign frame.
exactly.
And we just all of us at the table pretty much, we want to play with this permanently.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yep.
It was just like,
We went the following weekend over to someone's house and we started cooking as if it was the meal for the beast.
yes.
Which you'll see that video soon coming up on our channel. It's freaking hilarious. But yeah, I think that these mini rule sets that
Yeah.
you can build into the frame
Yeah.
goes back to what Rabbit.com is saying about base rules,
Yeah.
and that all of a sudden now this campaign frame could be lethal at low levels, and you go in hoping to get to level 3 without getting your head ripped off.
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't physically looked at the campaign frame in the book, but I know from watching like Age of Umbra, like if you don't rest in like the safe space or like the haven spot, you lose so much. Like you have to take a watch, and that person like
We got to use that.
there are so many more like strict, hardcore, aspects to that.
Yeah.
And at a low level, it is like dire type things.
But you asked me before how I felt about this whole system as a GM, and one of the things I think is great is that I can go through and cherry pick from different campaign frames the rule sets that I like, the notions of watches from Age of Umbra, the notions of preparing meals as means for healing from Beast Feast, and my own, and sort of begin to put them together now in a totally unique setup. This is so like a system of puzzle pieces that I can just now say, oh, this and this and this and this plus this makes for, role play heavy, lethal, combat light,
Yeah.
right? You know what it reminds me of? When we went to PrinceCon.
Yeah.
So PrinceCon is a small convention for Dungeons and Dragons held at Princeton University, usually in, I think it was in March?
Yes.
In March. The basic gist is you play for 3 days straight through a continuous campaign, and the campaign is overarching. So there's like 22 DMs. You're all playing in the same campaign, but each DM takes a different section of the campaign and plays it. So if you sit at a table for 6 hours, you will leave that table possibly with magic items that are like bar-coded, and you go add them to your character sheet. You have individual experiences, you have notes about the campaign, and then you move to a different DM to go further. But here's the thing, when you're trying to decide what DM you go to, you look at they've made these posters, and they're like, okay, this is me, this is the section I'm covering, and it scores a 5 on combat, a 1 on roleplay, a 2 on lethality. Lethality? Is that a
Yeah,
word?
that's what it's
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you can basically pick the game you want to play. So these rule sets from campaign frames kind of become like that. It's like, okay, Age of Umbra has some lethality here, and Beast Feast has this really interesting food mechanic
Yeah,
here.
what are we going to get from the Romanticy campaign frame that's
Well, I'm
coming out?
gonna have to
Love. Love mechanics, baby.
see some love mechanics.
Now, I think this brings us into a nice conversation, though, because the people are asking, what are we doing next?
Uh-oh.
Well, no pressure.
No pressure.
So I have been turning this around in my head for a while now, and I'm really curious. Number one, before I start talking about that, we have now done Clockwork Silence. We're doing Beast Feast. You and I did a couple of Daggerheart Slims. And
We
if
did
you-
the playtest.
We did the play test, but we also did the marathon. So these are all short
And Dear's
campaigns.
Embers.
And Dear's Embers was a short campaign. So these are all short campaigns that really feel like it's not 100%, like we can't take a deep dive into a character, right?
I'm so ready for what you're gonna say.
Oh, Nathan's perking up.
So what I'm wondering, and I've heard this from a couple of our viewers, people want to see a longer term campaign. Now, I know you've been pushing back against this a little bit.
Well, I think I'm just like baby steps. Maybe long means 3 months. Maybe long means 4 months, not forever, like our other campaign. You know?
Well, here's the thing. I have an answer, but I want to hear from all of you. And you look like you're ready to come
Well,
out
I
of the
want to
box.
hear
Nathan's
the
just
rest
like-
of what you're gonna say.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
No. So what do you think?
Okay, I love that idea because, okay, yes, I love killing my characters, but it is it is because my characters are kind of like mayflies to me. I'm only gonna get to play them for like 1 or 2 sessions, so I am excited to compare like how that feels in our like one-shot games, and then go to a longer form game and see if I still feel the same way about my characters, and compare that to how I also felt about my characters playing D&D in our long form campaigns.
Yeah.
What do you think,
I
Garrett?
don't know.
I would. I think I'd be into it. I mean, it would be very interesting to like long-term play a character. We have never, I think, leveled true
I
to
know.
this game.
It's always been a weird milestone kind of
Yeah,
leveling.
like for the marathon, I mean, that was just, we were
Just like boom,
having
boom,
fun. You know, the rules just came out. We were just bulldogging through that
Wasn't
thing.
quite reasonable.
No, it was just like every encounter was just go up a level, go up a level, go
became
up a level.
gods.
Yeah, we
It's
did.
fucking awesome.
But it would be interesting to see, like, they played Age of Umbra, and it was like they didn't level up until like episode 5 or something like that. So it's like they had
Yeah.
so much time into just a level 1 character, and we haven't experienced that.
No.
And I think that would be interesting.
I do really like what you said about, like, maybe we start slow 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
want to overshoot and have it drag on if it's not something we're enjoying.
Yes. And it's our
Step
first
it up.
time playing longer term Daggerheart characters.
Yeah.
You might want to reset.
Well, okay, so can I inject a few things here?
Yes, you may.
Okay. I think one of the things we're afraid of with longer term campaigns is that we have found in longer term campaigns, let's talk about the dreaded forever campaign, right? And I like the notion of a forever campaign, but what it does in a forever campaign is it takes the urgency off the story beats. Because it's like, well, we don't really have a limit. Like when I know it's a 3-shot and I got to get done in session 3, I'm like, boom, 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 right?
Yeah.
But when it's a forever campaign, that kind of goes away. Okay, let's not think about it in those terms. Let's think about it in terms of 10 levels. Okay, you're going to go up 10 levels because that's all we have, right? And if the story beats are still heavily in play, and there is a mini adventure or an adventure that takes you from tier 1 to tier 2. And then when that adventure's over, let's just say from a cliche standpoint, you're back in the tavern, all together as a group, and shit goes down. And now you're back out on the road, maybe going someplace completely different, but you're still in the same character. The story beats still have the urgency, and that's going to take you maybe just over the edge into tier 3 or maybe up to the top of tier 2. And so all of a sudden now we're on a journey to tier 10, and we know, or I should say level 10, tier 4, we're trying to get there. And I wouldn't make it impossibly hard to get there, but what's a realistic amount of time to get there? But baked into that 4-tier journey are like 5 different adventures.
So let me ask you a question on this, because like
Absolutely.
my mind is just kind of racing because I have been involved in many of your forever campaigns.
You have.
No offense here,
Strays.
nothing like.
Here comes the.
Now,
Wow.
I'm
no.
getting called
What
out
I'm
here.
curious about,
Holy shit.
what I think could be interesting, because you're saying these essentially mini adventures, getting to a point, an arc. You're finishing an arc.
Story arcs, yes.
Now, you said you wind up in the tavern again. Would it be feasible to end that arc, essentially disband, take time, create a mid-story, then come back together?
100%.
Type things. I'm just thinking of like Critical Role, like, you know, Mighty Nine, like, I forget what the term they use. Like, it's like Reunited or whatever, where it's like, you know, they've had 5 years off. They now have a story to tell when they come back to the table of what they were doing and then what brought them back. Like, what's the new thing?
Yeah, I think
that would be interesting.
So interesting. I would love
'Cause
to
then
do
you're-
that.
I mean,
You're
even
expanding a
if, let's say,
story.
within those 5 years, that character died and their child
So
joins the party.
So say, you get to the end of that thing and, maybe your, PC wants to retire. You come to the table with a new thing. You gave us that option.
I know. And
in our one game.
Here is my key interest in all of this, because I'm not really so invested in how short a campaign is or how long a campaign is. What I am invested in as a GM is you guys falling in love with your characters and really getting deeply enmeshed with them. That's what I want, right? And I don't know if we can do that in a 2-shot or a 3-shot. But
no, you can't really.
Well,
you can.
Wait,
you can.
counterpoint.
I know. I really feel like I've fallen in love with my characters and with your characters in a very brief amount of time. I think Marathon was different because we were stuck in a room with each other for like
Was
18
that a problem?
hours or something. No, it was great.
It was like 16
great.
hours.
It was trauma bonding.
I loved it.
It was trauma bonding.
I almost threw like 3 clots in that. I thought I was going to die.
Todd putting us.
I haven't sat in a chair for so long in my whole life. I was like, I'm going to die in this chair. Go
I
ahead.
feel like, and I've brought this up before. I don't know if it's explicitly Daggerheart or if it's the smaller groups, so there's more play space for all of us. But I feel like I've walked out of this place after just 2 sessions, finishing like a short story with you guys. And I'm in love with the character I played. I'm in love with the characters you've played and the connections that we have together. Whereas I've played D&D one-shots with you guys before, and it's like, that was pretty fun. But
Yeah.
I leave
Yeah.
not really caring.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there has been something special when it comes to these smaller campaigns.
Yes.
So, like, I don't want to completely knock it, and I am afraid, like, if we were to fall into maybe similar ruts that longer campaigns have fallen into, what do we do with that? Maybe there's a space where it runs off of our interest
Right.
in our investment in the campaign. Like, if we're feeling it, it keeps going. If we're not, we adjacently hop to a story that's nearby.
I think someone kind of said that in the comments.
What is it?
They talked about amping up the severity. Like if you wanted to,
End it quickly.
if you wanted to end it quickly.
But I think that plus your comment about disbanding, writing a story, and deeper investment in the character could answer it. Listen, here's what we're going to do. Let's take a break. Because on the break, we're going to move the light because we're starting to get a little dark here. I've slowly been turning up the ISO on the camera to the point where we're going to turn grainy soon. So let's do this. We're going to take a break. We're going to leave the cameras on. You'll still be able to see us, but we're going to mute that mic. And we're going to come back in about 15 minutes, hopefully better lit. I just want one quick thing in the comments.
Lit.
Should we start a fire? Like, should we have a camp? Should we have a campfire? Like, would a campfire be a good idea? I know you want to go to break. I know I want to go to break soon, and there's a delay. But I think yes to a fire, right? Should we have a fire?
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna get that lit in that time.
Oh, we're lit.
I don't know.
We're
I can
lit?
usually get lit in no time.
I
But
bet you
Oh
can.
God.
Todd's really hip, guys.
Do you see the flip flops?
I'm gonna kill you on break. I'm gonna kill you on break.
While we're on break, guys, tell us what you want to see from us.
Cast fireball.
When we come back from break, we're going to go over all your comments because you guys have been saying some great things, so we definitely want to do that. All right, so we will see you in about 15 minutes, and you're going to watch us set up a bunch of stuff. Be back soon. All right, we're back. Hey, everybody, thanks for waiting. We have a fire. A nice fire.
Hey!
It might be a little orange, but
Yeah, we're toasty now.
here we are.
Not that we need to be.
Let's get cozy, y'all.
Let's get cozy. Campfire story time. All right, so before we went to break, and I seem to have lost my feed on my... there we go. I got it back. Before we went to break, I was saying that we were going to kind of go over some of the comments from before and read those really quickly, and then we're going to kind of get into the plan for upcoming fall, which I sort of still have in my mind, even though we've been debating what we're going to do.
Do you want to hit really quick? Because Rich didn't give his opinions on a long-term campaign.
Oh, why don't you
He
give
was
your
kinda
opinion?
skipped.
Yeah, on a long-term
It's
campaign.
okay. I mean,
Thanks, Gary. It's nice.
We don't know
It's
if
nice
your
to know
opinion matters,
Someone
but-
wanted to hear my campaign.
It doesn't matter to me, but I'll hear it.
All right. So I was thinking that there are a few things. I think there are mechanics that we have yet to see that cater to a long-term campaign, whether that's the certain witch subclass that caters with the moon cycles, or transformations, or I don't know, other things that require rests and building up things on fear collection and all that kind of stuff. I'd love to see those mechanics. I'd be interested to see what it's like playing a long-term campaign with our viewers. Last time we played a long-term campaign, we didn't really have consistent people watching and or boons and banes, so I'm interested to see how that would affect a long-term campaign. But you know, I think it's a nice balance. I'd like to do. I'd like the freedom to be able to pause the long-term campaign and do 1 or 3 shots if we wanted to mix it up a little bit. But I am excited to see what we could do as far as characters, getting invested, seeing how things like scars play out, all these things we need a
Yeah.
long-term campaign to do.
Yeah, a scar, playing out of a scar could be really interesting.
Yeah, or seeing how that plays out over a campaign. Like, what if you keep playing a coward that keeps taking the way out, and by the end of the campaign, you're a complete glass cannon?
Right, right,
You know?
right. Yeah, no, that's a
Interesting
great idea. That's a great idea. So some of the things that were mentioned before we went to break, Donald Williams said you should play an Age of Umber-based game long form, at least 8 sessions. I mean, long form for us is a lot longer than 8 sessions,
Yeah.
right? But I get the point.
but
And I like-
recently we've only been playing like 2s and 3s.
Right,
So
exactly.
8.
So a lot of people that are
Yeah.
newer to our channel are going to see us as kind of these like 2-shot, 3-shot people,
Yeah.
which is fine. I don't mind that at all. But then Warriors is like, I think a 5 Banners Burning campaign with a Game of Thrones type feel would be cool. So
I like that a lot too, though.
yeah,
But there are mechanics you can
Grab me
take
a
from
log.
5 Banners Burning.
just you're right.
I know we're looking to play in our world of Vesper.
We are looking to play in the homebrew world of Vesper.
Yes, please.
But there are mechanics that you know create like a Game of Thrones-esque vibe that you could take from 5 Banners.
100%. And as we remember, and this is something I kind of wanted to ask all of you, and this doesn't necessarily mean we're going to do it, but we were engaged in a very, very deep story in the world of Vesper when we were still playing D&D that we got away from as Daggerheart took hold of us, and we left those characters and that story behind. That story was helping to fuel a lot of my world building, I'm not going to lie. I really liked that. What do you think of bringing that story back into the fold? Is that even a possibility? Are we interested in that? I've got a lot of other stuff up my sleeve, don't worry.
And adapt it, like the same story that we were playing and stopped on?
Well,
You would probably introduce it in a different way, right?
Well, because if we're talking 5 Banners Burning,
Yeah.
right, you know that in the story you guys were engaged in, there was a war between 2 continents that was brewing, and there was a critical element to the solution to that war, and possibly the end of the planet, in your hands. So we dropped that at a really, really tough time.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, thoughts on that? Do you care? Can we let it go?
We just got an interesting comment though. You will see some drop off in viewers in a long form, just like online gaming, and that's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Well,
But
I mean, I think of it this way. I think that's a great comment. And earlier, somebody had said, I don't care what you do, I'm here for the ride, because I liked what you're doing. Let me see if I can find who that was. That was...
I want to say it was Donald Williams.
It was either Donald Williams or... Hold on. Shoot. It says, it was George Straighton. It says, whatever you guys wind up doing, I'm here for it. I've really enjoyed all your actual plays. So cool. Thank you for that. I will say this. I think we should do what we want to do and not only do what's going to, create the viral viewership. I think our viewers are here because they like the stuff we do.
But I think Bun Bun says it correct. Campaign arcs with some sprinkled mid-short series to regroup and allow the story to breathe.
Yeah.
Story's
got to breathe.
Yeah.
It's not about the length. It's about how you create those story arcs. It's like what you do at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that also, like, if we play some one shots here and there, boom, then we get some more viewers or whatever, people that care, and then we get into a longer thing. It could be more like rhythmic based or like ups and downs based, because then we get to get intimate and connected with our viewers as they see us get intimate and connected to our characters.
Right.
It's like bringing them in and then like going on a journey.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I want to get intimate and connected with the world that you built with Vesper. Like, that's some of the coolest shit I've ever heard. You know where I want to go more than anywhere in the world? Clichés.
Oh.
More than anywhere.
Clichés
because of these fucking Titans. The wall of Titans.
Clichés is tough.
Oh my god.
Clichés is tough.
It's like this little Pandora's box that you've put out on the table in front of me. And like,
I want to go there too.
I want to touch it.
I want to go to the bog.
So I like the idea of how I brought it up before, where if we played longer term, more than 3 episodes with these characters, with the mindset of a much longer thing, but breaking it up. Like I said, taking rest or, play 4 levels, end that arc. One of the things that could be done, and we understand there might be some drop-offs in viewer because long-term campaigns are difficult, but almost as a session 0, like if we then did a small, 3-shot in between of something different or did a campaign frame, we could come in with a session 0 of a complete recap where the whole table's there, we mini tell the story, and sum it all up and then start in.
Right.
Yeah, and it does.
I think that could be.
Yeah.
It's framed as a new thing.
Exactly.
Yep. But this gives an opportunity too for people that are watching to get invested in some of the characters you have long term, and then a death move is even more challenging and dramatic and has much more gravity.
And then Bun Bun is even more challenging and dramatic and has more gravity.
Bun Bun's in my camp.
Yeah.
Okay. And you got to watch out for that.
Yeah.
Well, did you see what Warrior said? Starts the campaign and Bun Bun spends 50 Banes to TPK the party in session 1.
Wait, where is that? Am I?
Warriors said it starts long-term campaign and Bun Bun uses 50 Banes to TPK the party session 1.
That was
It's gonna happen.
But we might have to put some brakes on there. I don't know. Although
we might have to put some caps.
I love it.
But then we start the campaign with a bunch of stars.
Well, yeah, there's a benefit there, right? There's a benefit.
No, these are not benefits.
God, wait. You said during our most recent session 0 that we should have like a roll table for like some sort of. What was it, like some sort of disadvantage?
Yeah, I was talking about having
dementia
table.
Yeah, the
dementia table.
Yeah.
That would be a cool aspect of scars.
Yeah, scars,
as you collect scars, you
scars
have to
great.
fill out things on that table of disadvantages that you have.
Yeah, you just work with your GM to find one that makes sense for your character.
Yeah. Yeah, we could do that. Eric Lazar's in the group. Hi, Eric. Good to see you. You see a drop-off even in the 3-shot. The long campaign has the possibility of attracting viewers as word of mouth spreads. It just needs to be good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we can do that.
Oh, yeah.
I think we can do that.
And like how you said, if you keep it more of a story beat driven, let's not spend a session shopping. Let's not
that fucking
there can be role play.
That sucks.
I hate it so much.
I love shopping. What are you talking about?
Shopping is fine. I think it just we have to kind of come to terms with how much of it we do.
It needs to be expedited to a point.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
our viewers are not going to want to necessarily watch an entire episode of shopping.
Right.
Or, you know, I don't know, going on this complete tangent to something.
Yeah.
You come to play fantasy games so you can make money and spend money.
it.
Yeah.
And then go back to everyday life
Hey,
to making
you got to
money and spending
accessorize.
money.
Got to accessorize.
Bun Bun,
Fair enough.
Bun Bun and Donald are in the chat right now, and Bun Bun's laughing, and Donald's like, I didn't say that to not do it.
Here's the thing. We gain money in these games to then go shopping and like live lavishly and buy these sets of armor
That's
because we
true.
can't do that in real life.
That's right.
That's true.
That's right.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, we also
enough.
can't kill dragons.
That's true. And what's more pressing narratively?
Yeah, honestly. But I mean, would you bring back your old characters? Is the question.
Well, if we went back to how Todd was saying it, our long-term campaign, and essentially converting it over, I still have investment in my character and my story. I mean, what about you? You've swapped
I
characters
love-
left and right in that campaign.
No, I didn't.
Damn.
I did
Okay,
it
sorry.
once.
Twice.
Tryphon
Well,
lasted
yeah.
for 7 sessions.
Listen.
Well, Tryphon was dead on session 1.
Yeah, I tried.
He was just a husk the rest of the time.
Fuck you guys. Wait,
Listen, it's an option.
what if I bring Tryphon back?
It's an option. I would say we don't necessarily all are required to resurrect our old characters, but it might be an option. And I gotta say, I just gotta take a moment. Donald Williams is saying the powder vendor in Critical Role.
Yes.
Yeah, Victor. Victor is the best NPC.
Nah.
Oh, come on. Victor made me pee my pants.
Okay. As far as that, comedic NPC, he's got to probably be the best NPC.
Yeah.
My favorite NPC is Pumansol from Campaign 2. He's the Furbolg in the magic shop in the
Yes.
one main town.
That's a good one.
And I fell in love with that character.
That's a good
That was
one.
one of the reasons why I played a Furbolg in the one campaign.
Yep.
But
I want to acknowledge Warriors. Their comment.
Yeah.
As a newer person, I'll watch either way, but you would need a big recap. We would not bring up old characters from a campaign you've never seen without making it seem like a new story and introducing you to them for the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We
Yeah.
would not do that to you. We would absolutely give you.
yeah, because there's definitely towards the end we were missing episodes. We had kind of the viewership on that campaign had completely died off. It was becoming too much to, edit it or record it.
We were at odds with a lot of things,
Yeah.
from the gameplay to the stream
Yeah.
D&D.
to D&D itself.
Yeah.
We were having trouble with that.
To be honest, I would not bring Circe back. I brought her, thank you.
Yeah.
I brought her back briefly during Clockwork Silence as a little cameo, and there's a lot that I would love to do with her, and maybe one day I'd bring her back again, maybe. But if we were to do this soon, I don't think I could touch her.
Makes sense.
I couldn't.
I mean, that makes sense.
I'd want to move on.
She was your first love.
Yeah, she was.
Well, we did also spend a lot of time with those characters.
Yeah.
It does make sense
And a lot of time
to not necessarily like.
really being able to I didn't
I mean,
feel like I really couldn't play her how I wanted to play her. And I mean, also this was because I was a naive D&D player. Like, Circe was like my first long-term.
Yeah, you learned a
Characters.
lot. You learned a lot about playing role-playing games.
Yeah,
and playing
and-
that character.
You know, I kind of wish that I had started with Daggerheart. I'm gonna be honest, because the thing that I had in mind for how I wanted to play Circe, how I wanted to be Circe, I feel like I was disillusioned so quickly.
Yeah.
Of where I wanted to feel powerful, but not undeservingly so.
Right.
But I jumped in as level 1 D&D character, and I just felt powerless.
you ate
Well,
shit.
I did.
So
Yeah.
before we even started that game, Nathan came to me with a bunch of ideas about backstory with this character, and I'm like, whoa, you're talking like a level 20 character here. You are not a god yet.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's funny, when I had the Discord session the other night with everybody that was reviewing the module, we had a member from our Discord community who is brand new to the world of tabletop role-playing games.
Yeah.
Never had seen one, played one before, but saw Daggerheart, thought it looked interesting, bought the core rule set,
Whoa.
and then bought the module on top of that, but sort of was like, I was kind of jealous. I was like, oh my God, this is your first foray into this world in a superior system, in a system that's going to be so good to you. Like,
I'm
hard.
jealous.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad that I have that comparison.
Yeah.
To, like-
because you can appreciate it.
Exactly. Like I'm not like spoiled
Yeah.
in a sense. Well, I'm spoiled by Todd.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Donald, she was great. I thought, I was just so surprised and happy to hear that in that Discord meeting. Well, and then there's one other thing in here where is it? Bun Riri says an intro about the characters, their journey, and what happened to them since. I kind of feel bad letting those characters go, but I understand why we would.
They can even come up as NPCs, though.
What?
You could bring them in as NPCs.
I could bring them in as NPCs. I actually would enjoy that. Like we brought Circe in as an NPC, not even an NPC, as sort of like a visiting character.
It's a cameo.
Cameo appearance in Clockwork
That
Silence.
was really fun.
Like, what if Brandmorn is someone's fucking warlock patron?
I was thinking that after what Nathan said about Circe. I mean, this would have to be a discussion with the group, but I'd also be fully willing to create a new character and like just start fresh.
Okay.
I mean,
That makes me feel better, because honestly, I'm asking that question for you, because I knew how much investment
I'm the one
you
that was
had
attached to
in
it, kind
Brandmore.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think Tryphon should be mounted on someone's wall.
What the fuck
my
kind of
gosh.
combative
So-
shit are you trying to say?
All
to
right,
me,
so
dude?
here's something we could do here. One, in terms of the world of Vesper or the old campaign, do you have questions? Things that were left unanswered, things you'd want to know. Like if we're going to leave it behind,
Oh.
and I don't know if we're going to, because right now I know that Addie and Eric and Olivia are either A, watching, or they're going to see this. And they're probably going to say, wait a minute, we didn't get an opportunity to weigh in on this. So I'm not calling, I'm
I'm
not
saying
calling
the
time of
group
death
would
on
have
this.
to. We'd have to discuss as a group and see how everyone feels.
Yeah.
And I think it would be perfectly. I mean, we'd have to pick up somewhere different.
Yep.
You know, like the chat's been saying, recap a lot of stuff, tell the story, and we could just fast forward, tell a story, and then people could, if you want to still play your character and you want to still come up with a story with that character, play them. If you want to play someone new,
Yeah.
play that.
I almost find myself wanting to build a character based off of the repercussions of past campaigns we've done. Like
Whoa.
I almost want to build someone based off of what happened in Amakora after that building blew up,
Yeah.
or what happened to somebody I don't know that was part of that cult in the marathon
Yeah.
after all that stuff happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just find myself wanting to add to the world like that.
Right.
You know?
I want to see. I felt myself immediately after the marathon wanting to go back to the pit like 50 years later and see like the impact that Doomba had on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like those implications of, and this happened a fair bit in Critical Role, but the implications of the adventurers on a particular story far into the future. And we see the characters highly evolved. They've gone way beyond where they were in that adventure, but now they're back, and we see what the world is like at that point. And I think that's one of the most interesting parts about storytelling is you have these moments together, but then how does that affect the future? Which that excites me.
Low key. Forever campaign. My idea. No.
Yeah.
Forever world. Yes.
Yes.
I would play in this world until I dropped dead.
Wow.
I
That is
would.
an honor to hear
Honestly,
from you.
I really would.
That's an honor to hear from you because
you.
you have this. I mean, we all are really invested in these games, and given your newness to this, but your understanding of game design, that means a lot to me.
Thank you.
So,
Of course. You're fucking awesome.
thank you.
Can I go back and play Poppy Button?
Oh my God.
You can't play your love interest. That's cheating.
Bun Riri says maybe a short series to see them within Daggerheart for unfinished business.
The unfinished business.
I like that.
They come
Could
back
do
from
a
the dead.
short Feywild journey.
Yes.
But that's so directly connected to the next step we were in. We were going into the Feywild.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just kind of a post session.
But I kind of like if we all agreed that we'd come at it with new characters, if our previous characters drop the ball on carrying the heart to the destination, and then
They
this
could've
new group of
failed.
characters, they pick up the torch immediately after.
Or
And-
deal with the repercussions
Oh,
of
I
them
love
failing.
that. That's
Right.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Like, what if we pick up in a world without the heart? The heart's
So
missing.
a lot of you are watching right now, and you
gosh.
probably don't understand what we're talking about. So can I just give a quick synopsis,
yeah.
like a really quick synopsis? The basic gist of the campaign and the world of Vesper is there are these two demigods there that a long time ago in history, these two demigods were sort of at war with one another, and one of those demigods, Kalagenia, I got to back up even further. There are three primary magical systems in the world of Vesper, and one of them is based on a mycelial network that lives inland on the continent. That mycelial network functions as a communication network, and the resonant vibration that emanates from that is the way we draw out to power arcane resources. Okay. Those arcane resources and the mycelial networks at large are powered by these hearts. There's one heart on each of the three continents. So we've got the heart of the Vassarine, the heart of Lotusia, and the heart of Cambriosa. That's each heart. I shouldn't even have told you that. What, am I nerding out?
I don't know why he's laughing.
A little bit.
I really just enjoyed when you
little
talked,
bit.
and then I thought it was cute, and then I was laughing.
I'm like, shit, I'm nerding out. And he's laughing.
He's spiraling.
Spiraling. Long story short, Kalagenia steals one of these hearts and transports it to another continent, which, number one, causes the continent he takes it from to almost die. I mean, it basically becomes like a desert wasteland. And the continent he brings it to has this abundance of growth, such that the economy changes to this massive agrarian economy. And then that continent offers aid to the continent that dies through the form of transported food. So there's this huge tension that takes place between these two continents because this demigod stole this heart. So where does this leave us? These guys actually acquired the heart in an attempt to bring it back to the continent it belonged to before war breaks out. It was intense.
It was really
It was
intense.
intense, but that heart has the potential to die. So they had to go to the Feywild, where they could actually, and this is where we cut off the campaign, find a way to sustain the heart long enough for transportation to the other continent, which is like a 30-week journey, right?
Yeah.
And this, just owning this heart, holding onto it, has massive consequences on your body physically. All right, I'm done. That's all I'm going to say about that.
No, but that's beautiful. I mean, picking up where we failed in a world where maybe, it's still in the Feywild could be interesting.
I honestly have no idea what tickled me so much. I think it reminded me when you said, like, oh, wait, I have to back up even further. It reminded me of some, like, obscure movie scene that I just couldn't get out of my head, and then I was fucked. I was fucked the entire time.
Okay.
The chat loves it as well.
Chat loved it.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I appreciate that. So anyway, we got to think about this, but I do think for fall, starting in September, we are going to be moving towards a campaign that is longer, not forever, with characters that I would like to get more deeply invested in. I would like to be able to really make some signature characters with some real investment in depth. Okay? And I promise you, the story will not only have the same level of depth that you put into it, but it will also move in beats that are sustainable and exciting.
Yes.
We will make that happen.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
I'm really excited to explore that world more.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, like, I'm all down for these longer form campaigns, and I still want to do like shorter form campaigns where we can take a break from where we are and pop out somewhere else. And
Yeah.
just explore a completely different part of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
I mean, I think that might be perfect, like, spots for, like, Daggerheart campaigns.
Right.
Jump into Age of Umber. Jump into, and just don't necessarily use our world just as a break, and try something new.
well, I'm just going to throw this out there, and this might be blasphemy. I think this might be blasphemy, and somebody might love it and somebody might hate it, but I'll say it. The idea that around Halloween, look, if we can take a campaign frame and we can borrow mechanics from the campaign frame that are, sort of borrowed or new, like Beast Feast has a new mechanic, right? Then why couldn't we play Daggerheart and utilize a 10 candles system to snuff out the light in the room slowly as some kind of 10 candles mechanics becomes the timer, the countdown timer to the end of that campaign session.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that. I love it so much.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that could be good.
I love 10 Candles. We played it last year. It's so fun.
So I know that we've really built an audience and fans on this notion of Daggerheart, and I intend to play Daggerheart henceforth.
Agreed.
But to pull a few little tidbits from the beautiful ways in which other games are played, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I know that when you play 10 Candles, it is a tragic game, meaning that everyone will die at the end. So we'll have to be playing characters that we know will die at the end.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Eric Lazier, great comment. I would like to have a link where we can see the character sheets at the start of a session while we watch a stream or VOD. So, okay. Eric, I'm going to give you one better, because one of the things we're thinking about offering, we just posted today, our Patreon is up. Now, our Patreon exists with one tier, and it's $5 a month, and it's going to give you a couple things, like special Discord role, discounts on merch, and it's going to give you a free boon and bane per month. So right there, that's worth it.
That's a $10 deal for $5.
That's right. But what we also want to do in future tiers that we're going to slowly release, because we don't want to like overblow the Patreon too early. But what we're going to do with Patreon in the future is at another tier level, you're going to actually have access to some of the private Discord channels. Like, I have private channels in the Discord for all of the players individually. So if I want to have a conversation with Nathan on the side about backstory or something no one else is supposed to see, I can do it there. And one of the things we were going to offer with that is your choice. You get to look into that channel and watch it for activity, which is kind of cool. We could also do something like that with, we could do general stat sheets, but it might be cool to do a little bonus for those people that are, like digging in with us.
Well, I'm hoping that also in a longer form campaign, we would have possibly that screen that pops up on the stream that has our character art and some stats.
Yes. So,
because that'd be easier because we'll be playing that character for a long time.
Right. And this goes back again to the software that tracks the sheet, Demiplane. Demiplane offered us something really cool in the beginning, and I was actually able to tap into the screens that had the Demiplane character sheets and throw them up on the stream. We did that in beta, but I haven't been able to do that recently. So if we commit to Demiplane, we can definitely do that. That could be something that could be right there on the screen. So great comment.
Oh, yeah. That's exciting.
Wait, it says, sure you were working on this, but it sounds familiar. Donald, clarify. I don't know what that means. I saw the text of the comment after I was speaking for a while, so I'm not sure what you were talking about. Okay. Is there anything else we want to cover tonight? Because we're gonna kind of start to. Oh, on Friday. Yeah,
Oh yeah, you did talk about Patreon.
I did talk about Patreon on Friday. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we've been kind of cooking it for a couple weeks, but we just launched it.
We're gonna make a post on the Discord about it.
Yeah,
tonight.
you'll see it on Discord tonight. Anything else?
What's our plan after Beast Feast?
So after Beast Feast, so next week, next Tuesday night, we will have the final session of Beast Feast, and then we will be gearing up for this next thing. So we will have a session 0 in not the immediate Tuesday after, but 2 Tuesdays after the last Beast Feast. We're going to have the session 0 for this new campaign. We're going to start getting ready to gear up for that if everybody agrees. I'm not unilaterally making this decision. That's what I would like to do. If you guys are all on board for that, and we obviously have to talk to Olivia, Addie, and Eric about this, but I think that campaign carries us through maybe the winter.
Yes.
Well, there's other things that you guys wanted to add in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and battles, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Also, in January, we are going to be taking a break. January, we're going to take the month off. We are ripping apart the studio, and we're rebuilding our table so that we have more space.
It's gonna be gorgeous.
Well, it's going to be
Gorgeous.
more functional, which, gorgeous would be nice too.
Yeah, would be.
So,
Hey, you getting that credit card out for the Wormwood table?
I am not buying a wormwood table. I will make a wormwood table. So, well, this was fun. Yeah, this was good. You guys, thanks for number one, sticking with us
Sticking
through
with
the
us.
massive glitch. We figured out what the
Yeah.
problem with that glitch was, and I don't know about you, but I've had it with can I
The
say it?
purple streaming app.
That purple streaming app, and trying to restream onto both of those places is just, it's a nightmare. So, might be ending that soon. Hopefully nobody has. Yeah, the fire is dying.
Yeah,
It
our
is.
fire's struggling.
That means it's time.
For us to
wrap it
die.
up.
It's time to call it. We got to make our final stay here. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, all right, you guys. Thank you, number one, for sticking with us. Number two, we will see you next week for Beast Feast. Looking forward to that. I got to go inside and continue working on the module because I'm still fiercely going through the edits and getting them done, and I'm making good progress. So
Nice.
we're getting there. Next week for Beast Feast, I am going to have a PDF. Oh my God, I hope I'm going to have a PDF of my feast guide. I've made a whole bunch of tables for organ harvesting with 1 flavor trait, and organ harvesting with 2, and foraging with 1 and 2, and exotics, and even some mushroom tables in there. So hopefully,
An essential purchase if you're gonna play Beast Feast.
well, I think it's kind of cool. I like it.
Essential.
but yeah, it's just like mostly tables. We will see you guys next week. Thanks for hanging out with us. Guys, this was really great.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
It's fucking awesome.
All right. We'll talk to you all soon. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night. Thank you.